from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Beat the Champ from the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. I'm Paul Peck with Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky. Week number 3 of competition here at Rapids, and we've seen 2 really good weeks of action. It started with Dana Voytovitch on that nice run, and then Brian Shaffer beats him and starts a run of his own.
Right, unpredictable. That's what I would say it is this month, because we didn't know what was going to happen because we had so much talent coming at us, and it's not going to be anything different this week.
No, the talent continues. We have another Voytovitch first up. That's Dana's uncle Greg. And then we've got Tyler Molina, who has been outstanding. Steve Biondi. They are all the bowlers scheduled to compete today.
And confidence. I say confidence is the word of the week, because every bowler that's coming up here is going to challenge the great confidence we've seen of Brian Shaffer. It's going to be interesting.
Brian's been great. He's had a little bit of luck. We've seen the lane conditions change a little bit, so who adjusts to that is going to wind up being the guy left standing here at the end of that show. We got 3 great matches coming up, so let's get rolling.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with what was a familiar face, Greg Voytovich. Nice to see you here again.
Thank you.
And I owe your wife an apology, because she's really not the reason you're not bowling.
Nope.
Been busy with work, right?
Correct. Every time there's a qualifier, I'm either out of town or I'm going to, not be here for the taping. I can make one or the other. I can't make both. So this one I'm here. I'm on a little holiday break now, so I tried. I made it, and I wanted to bowl my nephew, but he lost a couple matches ago.
That was unfortunate. So if you would have bowled Dana, that would have been for the streak, of course.
Yes, he would have been 14 in a row. He would have been trying for the record against me, and I said, it's not going to be easy against me. I'm not laying down for you. So it would have been fun, but he lost, so now I just got to try to beat the guy that beat him.
That's right. That was my next question. Were you going to lay down for him?
No. We never lay down for each other. We practice all the time, so no. I was not going to lay down for him, but no, I just, like I said, I told Dana I'm going to try to beat the guy that beat you, so maybe I'll make amends for him beating Dana.
Okay, well, everybody wants to know if you got new shoes for Christmas.
They did not. They had the same old shoes. They got them in, I think, 83, so now they are like 34 years old now. Same pair. Paul will be happy to see them. I still got them on.
Okay, well, good luck today.
Thank you.
All right.
It's Brian Shaffer on the left and Greg Voytovitch in the blue on the right for match number 1 here, week number 3 at the Rapids Bowling Center. And Brian Shaffer comes in on a 3-match winning streak, making his 3rd show appearance. And boy, appearance number 2 was super successful. Last week, he's already beaten 1 member of the Voytovitch family. That was Dana, and he'll look to do it again. And a late fall on the 7-pin. If you have not seen Brian yet, if you didn't watch last week, he is fun to watch. He is a guy who lets it all out. You'll know it, you'll hear it, you'll see exactly how he thinks about every shot. Well, Greg Voytovitch now making his 4th appearance on the show, overall record of 3 wins and 2 losses. We haven't seen Greg since early in 2017. When he bowled the transit lane. It's been a little while since Greg has been on the show. And talk about some good pinfall. That went from about 5 being standing to about 1 being standing.
Yeah, that was a great break right there. That went from a tough spare to a relatively routine spare.
Yes. So Greg is a longtime bowler, outstanding bowler here in Western New York, and as we said, has played a very large role in his nephew Dana's success, and we saw clearly last week as Dana won 11 in a row before Brian Shaffer beat him. So the roles are reversed here. Now it's Dana cheering on Uncle Greg instead of the other way around. And to follow everything you need to know about this show, at Beat the Champ TV, hashtag Beat the Champ on Twitter, and of course like us on the Facebook page for all of the latest results and the schedule for our next competition, qualifying and stats and everything else that you need to know. And there's a strike for Greg Voytovitch in frame number 2.
Well, I'm going to venture to say that Greg has tried to go to a pretty non-aggressive bowling ball and stay out of trouble, because he saw what happened between lanes 3 and 4. So a little bit of surprise there on 4. He probably has to make a little bit of a move to the right. but he looks like he's trying to keep himself out of trouble.
Well, for people that didn't watch last week, tell us a little bit what we learned about Brian Shaffer, his style and his ability.
Well, Brian Shaffer, who we have not seen a lot of here on Beat the Champ, has shown himself to be very smart. He's using one ball. He's using the ball he started with on lane 4, and he's got a different ball in lane 3, which only goes to show you that these lanes have broken down significantly different. So he's smart. He's intense, and he doesn't get intimidated by anything. He was one of the only people who kind of blocked out Dana Voytovich's winning streak and just bowled his own game.
3 in a row to start things off for Brian Shaffer. And again, he's a bowler who regularly bowls here at the Rapids Bowling Center, so he kind of has a little bit of a hometown lanes advantage, and he's been able to use that, particularly as we have seen Sue point out, lane 4 has been much trickier for the bowlers than lane 3 has. And here's Voytovich on lane 4, frame number 3. Didn't seem to bother him there.
He made a great adjustment there. Obviously, it was a break, knocking down that washout and just leaving a 10-pin. But he learned from that shot, as I would expect a KG veteran to do, and made the right adjustment. And what trouble on 4? He didn't have any trouble on 4.
No trouble. 58 years from Kenmore, as you saw. Full-time occupation in sales at Rose Micro Solutions in the medical sales division there for Greg Voytovich. Overall average of 230. And next time we get that shot of Greg, you can see over his shoulder his wife Rachel here cheering him on at the Rapids Bowling Center, and that's 3 in a row. There's his wife Rachel in the black jacket with the pink stripes, so she's there cheering him on. Brian Shaffer, meanwhile, has his wife Lori, his daughter Savannah and Jordan, and his father Tom. And there is Sarah Rott manning the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard for us, replacing Janelle Sabin for this week's show. And Sarah is dressed that way because she'll be a part of next week's Youth Bowling Challenge here at Rapids Bowling Center.
Another 9
that
pin.
9 might go down. Thought there was a pin that would spin over there and take it out. It did not. Brian Shaffer, 41 years old, from North Tonawanda, bakery manager at Wegmans. A 235 overall average for Brian. And as I mentioned, bowls here in the Wednesday Night League with that 235 average. This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
Great shot.
And Brian has really found a nice little groove here. Remember, he started this run off, as I mentioned, by ending Dana Voytovich's 11-match winning streak. And Dana really was literally and figuratively on a roll and just blowing through people. And Dana hit a couple of roadblocks in the middle of that, left 2 open frames in the middle of his match, and Brian pounced on it, and he has not lost since. Now, this tends to be a higher scoring bowling house. We've seen that. This is, I believe, the 4th time we've had the show here at Rapids Bowling Center. What is it that makes this place so conducive to scoring?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's the pattern. It is the kickboards. It always matters how bouncy the back is, the pins. So this place just has all the right aspects to create carry. But, you know, we have seen a lot of quarter pins today, so I think mostly it's a nice shot to the pocket. Like, you got a little bit of dry to your right, a little bit of oil to your left. Great shot.
Oh, a little fist pump from Greg Voytovich on a second strike here in frame number 8. And this one is a battle between these two guys.
You and I both know that he wants to avenge his nephew's loss. They have a very, very close relationship.
And all Greg was hoping for was that Dana had won 3 more matches, because then that would have set up a Greg versus Dana all Voytovich match, and that would have put Dana in a position to break the record for consecutive wins. So I know Greg was really hoping for it, but he didn't work that out with Brian.
Great shot.
3-bagger for Brian Shaffer. think it's a cool example of the generations of this sport to watch Greg and Dana, and Greg pass along the knowledge to his nephew in this case and cheer him on and bowl with him and be here and almost have the chance to bowl together on TV. There you go, a little encouraging yell from Brian Shaffer. Gets it 4 in a row now. Good ball speed, over 16 miles per hour on the ball speed, so everything's going right for Brian Shaffer.
I love this match, and I love this match because you've got Brian throwing 2 different balls, a different ball in each lane. You've got Greg, who's played the lanes completely different and has had to adjust in his own way, and they're both intense.
Wow. How about we have had nothing but strikes in the last 4 frames here. Brian's got 4 in a row. Greg's got 3 in a row. Look at the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Sarah Rott has been putting nothing but X's up there lately.
The interesting thing about bowling is sometimes bowling is a sport and sometimes bowling is a game. And it really does fit it's not always the same. Right now, it's a sport.
10th frame. Another strike, 4 in a row for Greg. So, boy, these guys are both just leaning on each other right now. You're going to strike, I'm going to strike. You think you have an advantage, I'm going to take it back.
Well, we're now in a situation where they have to match. Brian's going to have to match whatever Greg does, but only if Greg doesn't strike in the 10th, because Greg can mathematically shut him out.
With 2 more strikes.
As great as he's bowled, yes. Actually, with 2 strikes and 9.
Second ball of the 10th frame.
What a
Another
shot.
one
What a
for
shot.
Greg. What a match this is. These 2 guys are just going at it. So now 1 more for Greg Voytovich to post up a final score. He's looking at the scoreboard just like you are right now to see what he needs and where he's at.
He needs 9 or better.
Let's see if he can do it. And he gets another strike. 6 in a row to close it out for a 269 final score. How about that? So Greg Voytovich with an incredible stretch run here. The only what did Brian Shaffer do wrong? Nothing. He's still not doing anything wrong.
He got an 8 count in the 5th frame.
Unbelievable. Just incredible as Brian Shaffer has the chance to finish with 7 consecutive strikes, and it won't be enough.
Right. And who would have thought tripping that bucket in the 1st frame set it up for him to have enough pins to shut him out?
That's right. So what a great match, and I know that Brian will be disappointed, but there's not much you can do when you've pretty much done almost all you can to win a match, and it just isn't going to be enough. This was fun to watch.
Yeah, this was a great match. We haven't had too many 267s that lost.
No, not at all. And honestly, for as high scoring as Rapids tends to be, our scores have not been all that high through the first 2 weeks.
Nope. The minute you say it, that's when it turns around. So
the highest score we've had in the first 2 weeks was a 248.
that was the first opening match.
Look at this. Brian ends with a strike and winds up losing 269 to 267. Boy, both of those guys should congratulate each other on a great match. We'll talk to Brian about a little bit of a disappointing way to have his streak come to an end when we return to Beat the Champ at the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. What a match, 269 to 267. Nobody likes to lose, Brian, but that was one heck of a match. You throw 10 strikes, and it isn't enough.
Yeah, it's tough to lose a match like that. I struggled last week bowling against Fran and come out here, and I threw the ball fantastic in that game, and I left the buried 9-pin, and that cost me.
Yeah, overall, nice little 3-match winning streak for you.
Absolutely.
You prevented the all-Voytovich match from happening here today.
Right.
You know, really the first chance we've had to see you in an extended run here on Beat the Champ. Take me through how it went.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I threw the ball really well today. I was excited to be here. I'll definitely be back. Greg bowled amazing in that game, and I couldn't have done anything more. You know, I felt fantastic, you know, during this run, and I'll be back.
Good. It was a lot of fun to see. Pat, this is a pretty good show we're putting on.
I'll tell you what, that was one of the best shows. I've known Brian many years, so I expected that out of him once in a while. So
right.
All
right.
Good to see
Make
you
him
here,
feel
Brian.
a little bit better, Brian. Heck of a show. It's good to get you on here. I'm sure we'll see more of you, but we got another match to come. It's Greg Voytovich and the always impressive Tyler Molina. That's next on Beat the Champ.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with Tyler Molina. We haven't seen you in a little while. Had a change in your life. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so last time I was on was in June, I believe, at Transit. So I got married in the last few months, so that's been nice. I don't wear my ring when I'm bowling, though, because it kind of gets a little tight on my finger, not because of the marriage, but just because of the pressure of using that for bowling.
Okay, well, congratulations on that. And tell us a little bit about qualifying here at Rapid.
Yeah, so I came out of qualifying, I think the first or second weekend. I shot like 640 and then came back and shot 750. So much better look the second round of qualifying, and then shot 7-0, I think 703 in the positioning round. So I needed all those pins there to get into the 8th slot.
So not a lot of lefties. We only had one lefty on the show here at Rapid. So is that good for you, or is that bad for you?
I'd say it's a mix of both, because the righties have been kind of lost on one lane, but not both. The left lane's kind of been the ball just getting the right lane just taken off for them. So I didn't catch much of the first match. So you know, it'll be kind of a question mark going into practice. But hopefully I can, you know, work off of my shots in practice and have a game plan for it.
Okay, well, good luck to you today.
Thank you.
Match number 2 has Greg Voytovich being challenged by Tyler Molina, and we have certainly seen Tyler Molina on this show before, and we have seen that he is one of the best young bowlers in Buffalo. We talked about it 2 weeks ago on our first show when it was Bianco and Dana Voytovich as two 21-year-olds among the best young bowlers in Buffalo. Well, Tyler's the old guy in that group at 26, but he's in there as well, too. One of the bright young stars in Buffalo bowling is Tyler Molina. This is his 8th appearance on Beat the Champ. Big, strong, powerful,
Yep.
but could not get that 6-pin to go. 12 wins, only 3 losses in those 8 appearances here on Beat the Champ, and that includes 2 6-match winning streaks for Tyler Molina. That's where the 12 wins come in.
So if he wins this match, better look out, because he's got 5 more wins after that, right?
That's right.
History
That's
repeats
right.
itself.
Exactly. He is a streaky bowler, and I mean that positively, that every time he's been on, he's rattled off a bunch of wins in a row. And that's a spare to open things up for Tyler, and now we move it back over to Greg Voytovich. And again, can't talk enough about how impressive he was in the 269 to 267 win over Brian Shaffer.
Yep, needed almost every pin of that 269 to pull that off.
He ended with 6 consecutive strikes, so can that streak stay alive? Can he add it to 7 with the first frame in this match? Let's see. And not this time. Kind of lost the steam at the end of that one and leaves the 4 pins remaining in a difficult little split to have to pull off here.
Yeah, it's makeable, but it's tough. That's a Greek church with the 10-pin fell out. You know, that's a tough spare.
All right, so let's see how.
It's going to throw in that 10-pin spot.
Couldn't knock the Greek church down, so it's an open frame in the first for Greg Voytovich.
These two are kind of like mirror images of each other. They both play the outside of the lane, one on the left side, one on the right side.
Anything jumped out at you about how the lanes have changed through? This is match number 8 now.
Well, we know they've changed on the inside, and we know that they're different, but Greg plays them different than any player we've seen so far. So he's more right than other players can play by nature of his game. Tyler, there's been one left-hander, so there's been virtually no play on the outside on his lane. So he's really playing his own surface and breaking them down mostly for himself,
Right.
where Greg is playing on a lane where a lot of people have moved the oil around. So, I mean, I have to believe that the challenge is on Greg because he's had a lot more play on his side of the lane.
Gotcha. All right, there you go. There's your setup. There's your explanation for what's going on. We have noticed that lane number 4 has been a little trickier than lane number 3 for most of the bowlers. And there's Sarah Rott manning the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, replacing Janelle Sabin for this month's series of shows here at the Rapids Bowling Center. Doing a great job as well, too. Not an easy job to do. Here's frame number 2 for Tyler Molina. It's the 7-pin that will not go down for the 26-year-old from Cheektowaga, New York, Tyler Molina. Full-time occupation works for Lawley Insurance, but again, one of those guys who is that next generation of great bowlers here in Buffalo to keep the tradition of this city's bowling prowess at a high level.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great left-hander, hard and straight. But still great rotation. You can hear when it hits the pins. It's just, it's penetrating.
Yeah, next time he throws, we'll quiet down and let you hear it.
Spare.
And we do have the benefit here of the speed monitor on to tell us how fast that ball went almost 23 miles per hour.
Wow.
The average is what, 16? Greg's throwing around 15 or 16.
Spare balls will
there
go
you go.
faster.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See Tyler correcting me there.
If you threw the first ball that hard, it wouldn't be able to rotate.
I feel like he throws the ball almost that hard.
Wow.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Wow. Somebody check the condition of the pins after that one. Those pins not literally exploded, but figuratively exploded upwards.
He sounds like he cracks them.
He really, at some point, somebody's going to start throwing a ball hard enough to actually do that.
Crack a pin?
Yeah. And I think Tyler, being the good bowler that he is, senses that his opponent is struggling and now is a chance here to kind of put this away. 231 overall average for Tyler Molina. Bowls regularly at airport lanes on Mondays and Lancaster on Tuesdays. I don't know that he didn't like it at first, but he liked the result.
Oh, it was a great shot.
Got his dad Jeff cheering him on here at Rapids Bowling Center.
See, that was a little slower. That was a mile per hour slower than the other one. And it gives it time to work. Like, the ball is actually rotating into the pocket. If you throw it too hard, it's just going to skate.
Right.
Not saying you can't strike
It doesn't
like that.
allow the oil to do what the oil can do to help you, correct?
Well, oil is what the ball's trying to get through, actually. Great shot.
There's Greg's nicest shot of the match.
But if the ball comes out of the oil, it's going to throw more pins around if it's rotating and not just... If it's just skidding into the pocket, you're going to get more deflection. So you want the ball to be working, to be turning and rotating when it hits the pocket. And, that was perfect.
6th frame now for Greg. And I think, to your point, about some of his early struggles was he was a little amped up to take on Brian Shaffer, who's the guy that knocked off his nephew Dana and ended the winning streak. And I think Greg admittedly, wanted to sort of hold up the family name there a little bit. So maybe that had something to do with him just being a little over anxious, and he bowled great in that. And maybe there's a little bit of a letdown that's going on right now.
Because then your adrenaline has to come back down. So these last two shots were definitely better.
10 career 300 games for Tyler Molina, 4 career 800 series with a high of 856 in his bowling career. Wow.
Very nice.
Again, over 20 miles per hour on the ball speed, just making those pins literally fly straight up. And the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard gives you the update on Tyler Molina's 4th consecutive strike. The interesting little tidbit about Tyler in his Beat the Champ career here, as we mentioned, he had 2 6-match winning streaks, the second of which was ended by the only 300 game we have had here in 2+ years of the show.
True.
Mike D'Amico did that to end Tyler's winning streak, and we have not had a 300 game since then. And that was early in the year for Tyler Molina in 2017.
Yep. I didn't think that we would get a 300, honestly. So I was surprised at that, but we haven't been close since then, I don't think.
Yeah, that happened in April at Manor Tulanes, where Mike D'Amico defeated Tyler with the 300. There's another strike 3 in a row now for Greg Voytovich. That's my New Year's resolution for the show, is I want more than one 300 game this year for the excitement
That's your
of
New Year's
watching
resolution?
it. Yes.
You're going to shoot 300?
No, I'm gonna hope that I get to call one. How's that? I think it's great. It makes for great television. People get into it. They like it. You know, it's fun to watch, the drama of trying to pull it off. So we need more of them. Makes for good TV. Boost the ratings.
Wow, what a shot.
You know, if you were waiting for me to do it, I'd be calling the senior citizens version of Beat the Champ. 4 in a row for Greg Voytovich after that disastrous start of 3 opens in the first 4 frames. Greg has started to really put the numbers up, but Tyler may have established enough of a lead at this point as he is working on 4 consecutive strikes. I will correct myself. That's now 6 in a row for Tyler Molina. He throws it so fast and so hard and so quick, I forgot to write one of them down.
Good count on this one is going to lock this match up. It really is technically locked up now, but just to be safe.
So let's see if Tyler Molina can start yet another streak on Beat the Champ. And that good count will get it done. So Tyler Molina gets going on another winning streak, his 13th victory here on Beat the Champ as he comes up with the win over Greg Voytovich. We'll come back and talk to Greg and get you ready for our next match, and it figures to be another good one with Tyler Molina taking on Steve Biondi. That's when Sue and I return to the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. More Beat the Champ to come right after this. .258 to 190, the final score as Tyler Molina beats Greg Voytovich. He just got off to that bad start. It was too big a hurdle, wasn't it?
Too big of a hurdle at right lane. Everybody told me that before I taped that the right lane was a little funky. I didn't think it was in the first match, and then I found out that it was in the second match, and it just was my downfall in that first 2 shots on that lane.
Yeah, were you just a little too fired up maybe for that first match?
A little too amped up after the big finish in the first match, exactly.
Right. Well, the Voytovich family, not so bad. 4 wins in the 9 matches here at Rapids. Not so bad, huh?
Not so bad. We got a little spending money for tonight.
There you go. That's your department, Pat.
That's my department. And Greg, nice bowling. That first match was a pleasure to watch.
Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, it's always good to have you on the show, or any member of your family. Always good to have on the show. A good show is always a Voytovich show.
Sure, we'll be back.
So we got another match to go. Tyler Molina trying to start a streak of his own. Can he do it? Stick around. We're right back after this on Beat the Champ.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with Steve Biondi. Steve, we've done this before, but I don't know that it made it to air because you had something unfortunate happen at Island. What was that?
About midway through practice, I ended up pulling a muscle in my neck and had to forfeit my opportunity.
Well, it's very unfortunate, but it's very fortunate that you made the show the very next month so you could come and redeem yourself.
Yes, I'm actually anxious and excited to actually finally be able to bowl.
Okay, well, no practice for you, and we will see you on the show.
All right, thank you very much.
Final match of the day, Tyler Molina will take on the challenger Steve Biondi to finish up week number 3, week 3 of competition here at the Rapids Bowling Center. Next week, a special exhibition youth bowlers show like we always do here on Beat the Champ. Our 4th show in a month is always a little bit of fun. And then we'll get back to the competition at Kearns Avenue Bowling Center in 2 weeks. And we'll see whether it's going to be Tyler or Steve as the one that moves on to Kearns Avenue.
Yeah, it's not that often that we get to see our scorekeeper bowl on the 4th show.
That's right. Yes, Sarah Rock doing a great job scorekeeping, and then she'll flip it over and do a little bowling in next week's show.
And then we'll have a guest scorekeeper, right?
Yes, we will. We'll keep you in suspense on that. Tyler Molina powering his way through the pins in the first frame, leaves the 7 pin. Tyler Molina now with the win over Greg Voytovich. 13 wins, only 3 losses here on Beat the Champ, and the 13 wins now moves him into 3rd place in most wins since the show has been back. Can you name the first 2? Who are 1st and 2nd in wins?
Zimmerman
is 2.
Zarcone
is 1.
Well, I have been here all of them.
Yeah, that's right. You have been here for all of them. So Mike Zarcone, number 1 with 17 wins. Jeremy Zimmerman, 15. Tyler Molina with 13 now. So if he can win this match and advance on to Kearns, he'll have a chance to move up to the top of the list. And again, as we told you, Tyler has done that with 2 6-match winning streaks because he's only been on the show. This is only 8 times he's been on the show. Mike Zarcone's been on the show 21 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That stat I did not know.
There you go. See, I got all the stats in front of me, man. It's analytics. It's all about the analytics and the stats these days. Here's Steve Biondi. We'll give you the stats on Steve in a moment. And he opens up with 9 pins. This is his Beat the Champ debut, but that's only because of unlucky circumstances.
Yep, he was there. He was ready to go. We did our interview, and it was just prior to the match that...
2 months ago at Island Lanes.
Correct.
Right.
Island Lanes. And he pulled a muscle in his neck and couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, so
Curtis Foss got in that week. They called him in from Medina, where he lives, and he made it in to be the alternate.
So Steve now has qualified for the show in 2 of the last 3 months, but this is still his debut because of that injury. So it's our good chance to get our first look at Steve Biondi, 25 years old, from right here in Niagara Falls. And here's obviously a chance for him to be challenged by one of the best in town, and that's Tyler Molina. So each guy opens with a spare. Here's frame number 2. And that sounded good, looked good.
What a
Strike
shot
for Steve Biondi.
Another 2 young guys battling it out.
Next generation of bowlers,
26,
huh?
Yeah.
Next generation of bowlers is becoming pretty obvious, even as the course of this show, as we continue this show into our 3rd season now. I think we've seen a little bit of a shift from the older veteran guys that started off with the show to the younger guys now that have, once they decided they wanted to make the effort to make the show and qualify, sometimes it's hard to stop that big, powerful stroke of theirs.
Well, like I said, these guys go out and bowl tournaments, and that does nothing but help their game and make them more experienced in these changing lane conditions. So, you know, the people that go and put the work in are the ones that reap the rewards from it.
Yeah, so it's the Biancos, it is the Voytoviches, it is, you know, all these young, impressive guys that we have seen all under the age of 30 that really make you feel like the future of the sport here in this area, city, Western New York as a whole is certainly in good hands, and just a matter of time, I think. And I think that, you know, I'll make an interesting point here for you, Sue, is years ago when the Pro Tour offered more opportunities and more monies, guys like Tyler Molina might, you know, say, hey, you know what, I'll wait till after I graduate to work and go try my hand at the Pro Tour, and then they would evolve to become nationally known pro bowlers, kind of like Ryan Simonelli has done. Now, I don't know that it's as easy a decision for somebody like Tyler or Dana or Kevin because the money isn't necessarily there.
Right. Anybody else in sports signs a contract and gets paid, and in bowling, it's still a matter if you don't throw the ball good that day, you don't get paid that week, and that's a difficult decision to make.
Nice strike by Tyler in frame number 3. So what may ultimately happen is guys like that may become more prominent bowlers here in Western New York, and maybe that means this show becomes an outlet for them to make some money
weekend warriors
and hone their skills and things like that.
Right,
so.
but these there's plenty of money to be made on the tournament circuit, you know, the amateur bowling circuit. So to have to commit your life to traveling and being away from your family and spending that kind of money on the Pro Bowlers Tour, you want to bowl, there's plenty of weekend tournaments to bowl, and that's what these guys do.
There's a nice strike for Steve Biondi. That is 2 in a row for the 25-year-old who has been bowling since he's about 12 years old. He's got his mom, Terry, and his sister, Stacy, here cheering him on as you get a look at the early results from the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Steve's a regular at Transit Lanes in the Thursday Night League. He's got 8 300 games and 7 800 series in his career. And he was an outstanding junior college national championship bowler.
He's got a very nice release. Very nice release.
Late fall makes it 3 strikes in a row for Steve Biondi.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
It's great to have that power, but there's times you don't want it, so you have to be able to control it. So we may see a change in his speed when he moves in and has to deal with more oil.
Interesting. Actually, you would just think that when you have that kind of speed and power that you can get through anything, but I would think the development of Tyler's game has been when to back off. He has to learn how and when to back off.
Yeah, and well, we'll see how what his choices are after this, because he can go to less ball. That's another choice too, and stay where you are.
Another one late fall there for Steve Biondi as a couple of pins were wobbling their way, and it results in leaving Steve only a 1-pin spare attempt, which is good for him here in frame number 7. 1 or 2 pins. Is there a sleeper back there? Just
no,
one?
It caught the one before it fell.
Gotcha. So Steve is able to complete that spare in the 7th frame.
He's fixing it.
Yeah, and we're going to get a little adjust because the scoreboard here at the Rapids Bowling Center did not note that 1 pin, so Tyler was good enough to make the change for us. So not a lot of strikes here from Steve Biondi since that run of 3 in a row early in the first part of the match. but he's making all his spares.
Yep. And it's important too, you know. We saw that one spare cost Dana that match, really. Got to be solid on your spares.
And here he'll have the opportunity to do it again here in the 8th frame. So that's 4 in a row spares for Steve Biondi. So now, if Tyler's going to make a move here to get 2 in a row, it's kind of have to happen right now.
We're running out of frames. He's going to have to start striking. He needs, you know, not that he wasn't trying for sure, but he needs to take advantage of this little break that Steve had in not carrying. So now's the time. Again, the lanes, I think, are changing for both of them, so they're both trying to adjust to the transition at the same time.
Final match of our 3-week run here at the Rapids Bowling Center, and usually this is the time when these lanes become much, much more of a challenge. They've had 9 games bowled on them already. Wow, how about that for an answer? Big, powerful strike at almost 20.5 miles per hour on the ball speed. So now, if Tyler can keep this going, put a couple of these together, he'll be in a position to win this match.
Well, we're at the point where he really does need them all.
Two frames to go, so he needs a bunch of strikes.
He does. I don't know that he can count on Steve opening for the next couple frames. Just hasn't, the match hasn't been that way.
Ooh, and the clap of the hands from Tyler Molina tells you how disappointed he is in that one.
Yeah, that's a match breaker right there, and that was a really good shot. That was in the pocket. That's a pocket split. And it just comes from the ball being a little bit high flush.
So let's see what Tyler can do with this. Yeah, that's asking a lot. So it's an open in the 9th frame for Tyler Molina, and that may be the critical moment in this match, as Steve Biondi has been clean all the way through. 3 strikes, 5 spares. And just by the way he has played, has just been solid and steady, and it's put the heat on Tyler.
Whoa. That was a little scary for a second.
You think, huh?
Because an open here would definitely, that's Tyler's only hope was for Steve to have a couple opens.
Right. So Steve Biondi takes his time here, patience. Eyes it up, needs the 2-pin spare here in the 9th frame.
A spare here will pretty much lock it up for him.
And there it is. Another solid spare for Steve Biondi. Going to put him in a position to move on to come up with the victory here. And good for Steve after the unfortunate situation we talked about at the beginning of the match at Island Lanes a couple of months ago, where he made the show, then got hurt, couldn't bowl, gets his chance to come back, and it looks like he is going to stick around and move on to the Kearns Avenue Bowling Center in 2 weeks as our returning champion. There's a nice strike from Steve. Hasn't had a lot of those, but that's going to be enough to get him the victory. So Steve Biondi comes up with the win over Tyler Molina. No long winning streak for Tyler this time. He'll have to get to work on starting a new one sometime in the ensuing months, but a good win for Steve Biondi. We will chat with both gentlemen about a good match here and start to talk a little bit about next week and 2 weeks from now at the Kearns Avenue Bowling Center when Sue and I return to Niagara Falls. You are watching Beat the Champ. 112 to 185. Steve Biondi with the win over Tyler Molina. Things just didn't come as easy for you as they did in the match before, did they, Tyler?
Yeah, the second game I kind of got a little slow with a few shots, even though it might have been 20 miles an hour.
Right.
But I moved right in the ninth frame there. The ball just jumped a little bit too early, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and the lane conditions presented a little bit of a challenge for you too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tyler Molina, no long winning streak this time, but I know you'll get to work on another one of those pretty quickly, won't you?
That's the plan. Kern's next.
Yeah, all right. Well, Sue, we know one guy who's got a winning streak going.
I know you had to wait an extra month to get here due to your injury, but I knew you were excited to bowl. So what did you think of your experience?
I had a blast. Tyler's a great bowler. He came out and made good shots. It was a battle out there with the way the lanes were.
And now in that short period of time, you're going to cover another bowling center because we're going to see you over at Kearns. What do you think of going over there?
I'm pretty excited because I've never currently bowled there, so I'm going to have to make sure I get a couple shots in before the next show.
I was going to say get some practice shots, but good luck to you.
Thank you.
Right. Hey, Pat, overall, pretty good 3 weeks of action here.
Great turnout. I'd like to thank everybody that came out and competed. Tyler, a little consolation for you. I know it was your one winning and one loss, but hopefully we'll see you guys again real soon here at Rapids.
Yeah, we always like coming back here. This is always great bowling here. We'll be back here quick enough, but Sue and I will come back and get you ready for next week's special fourth show and talk a little bit about what's coming up in a few weeks when we come back to wrap up Beat the Champ. We're back in Niagara Falls right after this. Well, 2 weeks ago, 3 wins for Dana Voytovich. Last week, 3 wins for Brian Shaffer. This week, 3 different winners.
Well, yep, that's the meaning of the show, right? But we got what we wanted. We got interesting matches, and we knew there was so much talent that it was really going to be hard to dominate this week. So I think we got exactly what we expected.
Yeah, we got great bowling, and that's what we're always looking for. And we got great scorekeeping from Sarah Rott. She did such a good job on the scoreboard. We're going to let her bowl next week because it's our Youth Bowling Challenge on next week's show. And then in 2 weeks, we'll see Steve Biondi advance on to Kearns Avenue Bowling Center. So make sure you're with us next week for a very special edition of Beat the Champ. Until then, we'll see you. For everybody here at WBBZ, thanks for watching Beat the Champ.